We've been taught that a peaceful mind is one that's been emptied, that clarity means winning a constant war against unwanted thoughts. But the ancient samurai walked a different path, one that asks far less of you and offers something far greater in return. What if the real secret isn't emptying your mind, but expanding it? What if peace arrives when you create enough inner space that thoughts can move freely through you, appearing and dissolving like weather crossing a wide open sky? Over 400 years ago, a samurai monk named Takuan Sōhō wrote something that still carries its full weight today. He said, "The mind must be wide and open like the sky. Clouds may pass through, but the sky remains clean." Takuan understood something most of us have quietly forgotten. Difficult thoughts and heavy emotions visit every human mind. They aren't the problem. The problem is a mind that's grown so crowded, so dense with accumulated weight, that these clouds have nowhere to pass through. They stagnate, they press down. Each morning before sunrise, Takuan would take a broom to the temple steps. This wasn't ordinary cleaning. With each slow, deliberate stroke, he practiced a form of moving meditation, visualizing each sweep carrying away yesterday's worry, the residue of doubt, the fine dust of anger that settles on every mind. His peace didn't come from avoiding difficult thoughts. It came from meeting them calmly and allowing them to pass through a mind that stayed wide and open. This reveals the first principle of the samurai method for clearing the mind. The mind's true power lies in its expansiveness. In the early 18th century, there lived a samurai named Araki Nobumasa, known for the sharpness of both his mind and his blade. As he rose in rank, his mind turned against him. Sleep became unreachable. Anxious thought consumed his nights. The mental noise grew so relentless, it began to paralyze him. One evening, an elderly monk arrived at his door carrying a wooden ladle and a small basin. He spoke quietly. "You disturb the water of your mind with constant stirring," he said. "What is muddy can't become clear through more agitation. Perhaps try something different instead." Beginning the next morning, Nobumasa rose before dawn and sat in complete stillness. He filled the basin and used the ladle to pour water in a slow, measured rhythm, his entire attention narrowing to the sound it made, the pattern it created on the surface. He wasn't trying to eliminate his thoughts. He was creating intervals between them, small, deliberate gaps where stillness could enter. Within weeks, this warrior who had been drowning in mental chaos became known for his extraordinary composure. A humble practice with water and wood had pulled him back from an edge he'd almost fallen from. This reveals the second principle of this ancient Japanese practice for mental clarity. Tranquility doesn't emerge from resolving every concern. It emerges from establishing daily rituals that allow the mind to find its own natural equilibrium. The samurai understood something we've genuinely lost. We believe mental peace means fixing everything, being happy at all times. The samurai knew peace came from cleansing rather than solving. Before important work, a samurai would approach a stone basin and perform a careful hand-washing ritual. The deliberate pause, the sensation of cool water moving across the skin, the mindful attention given to simple movement, all of this created a threshold between the scattered outer world and the centered stillness within. Try this yourself. When you begin your day, turn hand-washing into a conscious ritual. Pay attention to the temperature, the texture, the flow. Or light a candle and sit completely still for 2 minutes before anything else begins. These small, intentional ceremonies communicate something profound. A transition is happening. You're shedding what doesn't belong to this moment. One of Japan's most celebrated samurai, Yagyū Munenori, mastered a practice called Makoto no Ma, the true interval. In the space between a stimulus and a response lives the freedom to choose your own state of mind. When overwhelmed by powerful emotions, Munenori would do something that seemed almost impossible in conflict. He would stop completely. Even with a blade moving toward him, he would create one moment of absolute stillness, one deliberate breath. That fragment of time gave him everything he needed: a chance to step back into his own center. The external situation remained exactly as it was, but he had found the gap between what was happening and how he would choose to meet it. You have access to the same gap. Practice creating small pauses before responding to messages, before speaking, before reacting to anything that stirs strong feeling. A single conscious breath can clear the mental dust and return you to yourself. Japanese culture has a word for this quality of intentional clarity, Seiketsu. It means cleanliness of both body and spirit. The samurai embodied this by keeping only what served a clear purpose and moving through the world with deliberate intention. By maintaining simplicity in their outer environment, they protected the spaciousness of their inner world. When your external world is cluttered, your internal world mirrors it. When you clear one drawer, one corner, one surface, you're teaching your mind what it feels like to release what isn't needed. Clarity on the outside creates clarity on the inside. The samurai also trained in Sumi-e, the ancient Japanese art of ink painting, governed by one rule. Once the brush meets the paper, there's no going back. Each stroke must carry complete presence and intention. This served a purpose beyond art. It was psychological release, a way of expressing what needed to be expressed without attachment to outcome. Bring this into your mornings through simple journaling. Each day, release one raw and unedited thought onto the page. Don't judge it, don't refine it. Simply let it flow from mind to paper the way ink flows from a brush, and then move on. This prevents thoughts from accumulating into something too heavy to carry. The samurai also honored Chinmoku, the art of sitting in silence. They understood silence as a listening space, a realm where deeper truths become audible beneath the noise of ordinary life. Each evening, they would sit without words, simply observing their own minds. They watched recurring thoughts the way a patient naturalist watches birds passing through an open sky, noticing which patterns felt heavy and which felt light, allowing each to drift onward without resistance. Find 5 minutes of complete silence before sleep. No music, no devices. Sit with your breath and watch what rises. Allow thoughts to appear and dissolve without chasing them. Some things simply need to be witnessed and released. Finally, there is Ōsōji, the great cleaning. In Japan, this happens once a year, but the samurai performed their own version every week. They would tend their tools, polish their blades, care for their spaces. Through physically attending to their environment, they were simultaneously tending to their psychological state. Create your own version. Choose one day each week and make it sacred. Wipe your workspace, clear a shelf, wash your cup. Approach these acts as meditation rather than chores. As you clean each object, imagine you're also dissolving the mental weight attached to it, the residue of everything that has collected there unnoticed. The samurai didn't pursue happiness as a destination. They cultivated conditions for clarity, and when clarity arrived, peace followed naturally. Peace doesn't require effort or pressure, it requires space. Small, consistent practices that open gaps in your day, your mind, your environment. When your inner world feels crowded with noise and heaviness, the answer isn't to fight harder. The answer is to stop fighting and begin clearing. Light that candle, take that conscious breath, clear that surface, perform that mindful hand-washing. Release what's accumulated and watch yourself gradually emerge from beneath the weight. The mind doesn't require fixing. It requires space to settle back into its natural state of quiet clarity. If this wisdom reaches something in you, carry it beyond understanding. Practice it. Begin today with one simple act of cleansing. And write in the comments, "I am the sky." Let those words mark your commitment to becoming spacious, rather than struggling to become empty. If the samurai way of clearing the mind calls to you, if ancient Japanese wisdom for modern challenges speaks to something deep inside, subscribe and continue this journey with us. Your spacious mind is already there, waiting beneath the clutter. The practice that reveals it begins now. Thank you for watching.